Hello, you radically beautiful human who has come from a mother and a father, whose mother and a father came from their mother and their father and their mother and their father. My name is Robyn, and I am a student of the late Elder Malidoma Patrice Somé. While he was earthside, I had a beautiful opportunity after a miscarriage my husband and I experienced between our two boys to learn and train with him and understand how to connect with my ancestors, how to receive guidance and wisdom from those that came before me, and also how to hold space through the art of Cowery shell divination to help other people receive guidance and information from their ancestors. So this video today is just kind of highlighting a little bit about my teacher, the late and very great Malidoma Patrice Somé. He was an West African spiritual teacher, an author, and an initiated elder from the Dagara people of Burkina Faso. Who he was. So he was born in 1956 in a traditional Dagara village in Burkina Faso. He was taken as a child to a Catholic missionary school where he received a Western education and later spoke openly about the trauma of that experience. You can find that information in his book of Water and the Spirit. You can read it, but I would actually recommend listening to the Audible version where Elder Malidoma is actually narrating his life story. It's a beautiful story. There's some painful points, but ultimately in the end, that story really helped me understand more about the residential schools and how impactful that was for everybody who went through them. Losing their culture, losing their tradition and their heritage, their language, and starting to think that they were less than. When the truth is that these ancient wisdom traditions hold so much knowledge and wisdom that us here in the West, and I'm speaking from Canada myself, where I was born and raised, first in Ontario, now living on the West Coast in British Columbia, having more of a connection to the First Nations, having friends here on reserves, that, it's a shame. It's a damn shame what happened. And the work with the ancestors, I find, is part of that reconciliation, is first and foremost helping everybody understand that has not grown up with a tradition or any sort of religion, that they do come from somewhere, that their life matters. So anyway, read that book. That's a wonderful one. Eventually, Elder Malidoma did return to his village and underwent traditional initiation to reconnect with his ancestral roots. Once again, that's documented in Of Water and the Spirit. Highly recommend it. Post a comment on this video if you have read that story, what parts spoke to you, if any. So later he earned multiple advanced degrees, including PhDs in the West. So the bottom line is that Elder Malidoma lived in two worlds. Of course, the physical and the spiritual world, but we can speak more broadly of his experience. He lived within the traditional African spiritual world and Western academia. So what Elder Malidoma taught, what he left behind, what his life mission. First, I want to also share that Malidoma was a name that was given through a ritual where his pregnant mom was put into a trance. And the shamans of the village, his grandfather, notably, spoke to the soul of the baby Malidoma and said, "Who are you? What is your name? Why are you coming here? What is your medicine for the village?" Because in Dagara wisdom, they understand that every single human being comes to this world with a gift to share, with a medicine. And you really do need a community to be able to share your gifts and your medicine, and also to be able to receive others' gifts and medicine. That's why we're supposed to be in community, connected, raising our children with all the generations in union with nature. So what he taught, Malidoma means to make friends with the stranger or the enemy. Highly recommend his book. Check it out. His core message was simple but powerful. Modern people are disconnected from spirit, ancestors, themselves, nature, and community. That healing comes through ritual. Healing comes through connection to ancestors. Healing comes from understanding and knowing that you belong in community. And healing comes from alignment with your own purpose. Why did your soul come here? That's a good question. If you are curious to follow that path, I highly recommend liking and subscribing to this video series, this page. My main goal in life is to help people reunite with their own souls and build community through that. Elder Malidoma emphasized that every person has a destiny and a gift that they're meant to bring to the world. Why does Elder Malidoma matter? Well, he became well known in the US and Europe because he translated indigenous African wisdom into something a Western audience could understand. This is when I sit with people with this divination practice. It's a language. There's a conversation point. There's information that I can glean based on these items that randomly fall onto this mat. Follow subsequent videos. I'll share live divinations that you can experience that through. He taught through books, workshops, and rituals. It was a gift that I had the opportunity to sit with Elder Malidoma in person with a group of other excited students who are still practicing his work today. And Elder Malidoma acted as a bridge between cultures. A lot of modern spiritual circles trace influence back to him. This includes people that work with ritual, ancestry, and purpose work. The three notable books that Elder Malidoma left this planet to enjoy, to learn from, to grow from, thank you, Elder Malidoma, for all of your wisdom, is Of Water and the Spirit. This is his life story and initiation. Ritual, Power, Healing, and Community, and The Healing Wisdom of Africa. I'll put links at the bottom of this video. You can search those books up. Real talk. Well, people either see Elder Malidoma as a powerful spiritual teacher bringing lost wisdom back, or they may question parts of his work through a scientific lens. Regardless of perspective, you don't need to blindly accept anything in life. Take what actually grounds you and sharpens your life. So the most important thing I learned about life through Elder Malidoma was the fact that I matter, that my medicine is here to help others in life. What does that mean? Well, I grew up in the Western world. I didn't have any sort of organized religion, no spirituality of anything to note. When I was 19, I sat with the medicine called Iboga, another wisdom tradition from Africa called Bwiti. And through that experience, Iboga and the Bwiti tradition opened my mind up to the fact that I had a soul, that I was a soul. And it wasn't until many, many years later, following a miscarriage that my husband and I experienced, that I began to be curious about my ancestors, because I had actually never had anyone pass away that I loved in my life. Following, I'll post another video about this, I had the opportunity to help my own father pass away in 2021, which was the same year that Elder Malidoma transitioned to becoming an ancestor. What I am going to be doing is showing and sharing more information for all of you who are curious to learn more about how to connect with your ancestors, touching on the wisdom that Elder Malidoma imparted into my life, as well as from other wisdom traditions that have a direct impact on my personal experience. I'll only speak from personal experience, and I am also able to do live divinations virtually or in person. This is something that is dear to my heart, as I had a good friend whose husband was sitting bedside with Elder Malidoma while he passed to the other side. And he said Elder Malidoma was concerned that his work would stop, that his life's work the momentum would stop after he passed. And truly, I hear that as a deep call to continue this work, because it's important, because your ancestors know that you have so much to offer, and I know that I have important wisdom to share from my experience. So that's how I'll end this video. Please like, please subscribe, please share this with somebody that might benefit. If they're missing a loved one that is transitioned, if they're in the process of helping somebody transition themselves or a loved one, the power of the ancestors can have a direct and positive impact on your life. So blessings to you. And I look forward to seeing comments and continuing this beautiful thread of connection. All my relations. Oh, thank you.